Now, the other game that people are very interested in around here and probably around there, Kansas is going to take on Eastern Kentucky. It all starts, I guess, right now with Joel Embiid. What is the latest with him? Are they expecting him to be a part of this run?
No, he will be out for this weekend for sure. Bill Self has already determined he hasn't practiced with the team, and the lower back problem is it kept him out of the final regular season game, the Big 12 tournament, and it will keep him out of the first weekend of the NCAA. So no Joel Embiid. And that was a problem for Kansas last week in Kansas City at the Big 12. Joel Embiid had a couple of very good regular season games against Iowa State. When they played the Cyclones without Embiid, Iowa State took advantage, shot 68% in the second half, and beat the Jayhawks. So no Embiid against Eastern Kentucky, and if Kansas were able to move on and play either New Mexico or Stanford, Embiid not going to suit up for that one as well. It would be the following weekend, the Sweet 16, where Kansas could see Joel Embiid.
How different does this team become without Embiid on the floor?
Hey, it's definitely an impact. They did have a nice win over Oklahoma State in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 without Embiid. And that was a big moment for Kansas because they had lost their first true test at West Virginia, the final regular season game, without the big guy. And so they know they can beat a quality NCAA tournament opponent without Embiid. But it's, like I said, his absence was felt in the Iowa State game. And they, fortunately for Kansas, they do have depth at the 4-5. I mean, they bring Tarek Black into the starting lineup. He was a 3-year starter at Memphis, transferred and is now starting for Kansas. Perry Ellis, one of the team's top offensive players. Jamari Traylor off the bench. They do have some depth up front, but they just don't have that rim protector, that 7-foot athlete who has been likened to a very young Akeem Olajuwon.
I know this team is heavily favored, of course, against Eastern Kentucky. Very few, if any, people expect an upset. But what are the areas where Kansas is vulnerable? If EKU is going to stay in the game or challenge them, how do they do that?
Well, by playing the way Iowa State did just a week ago, and that is Eastern Kentucky's game. They can knock down the three from a lot of different positions on that team, and that's exactly what Iowa State was able to do. They stretched Kansas out. The Iowa State 4 was able to knock down threes. So when that happens, those are teams that have given Kansas a little bit of trouble this year. Teams that can stretch out the defense and sort of keep the game away from the Kansas bigs. I think if Eastern Kentucky can hit a nice percentage of the threes, get its offense flowing, they could push Kansas in this game.
All right, Blair Kirkhoff from the Kansas City Star. Thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.